But today, a lady called Helen Erlen. I first spoke to her several years ago. Dr. Erlen devised what's known as the Erlen method. It uses coloured lenses to help people suffering from what Dr. Erlen describes as a processing problem. Now, it's not an optical problem. It's a problem with the brain's ability to process visual information. Symptoms can include sensitivity to light, reading problems, discomfort, attention and concentration problems, and writing issues. And thousands of people once diagnosed as slow learners or even dyslexic are now able to read like the rest of us. Dr. Erlen's preparing to come back to Australia. She'll be here from April 22 to May 3, her visit taking in Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. And to find out more, you go to aaic.org.au, aaic.org.au. That's the website of the Australasian Association of Erlen Consultants. Dr. Helen Erlen is on the line from California. Dr. Erlen, good morning.
Good morning, Alan. It's nice to talk to you again.
Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you too. Where did your interest in this particular field come from?
Originally, as a school psychologist, watching the fact that schools and governments have the tendency to spend money but not listen to the parents, and that we keep doing the same things over and over and over again, even though it doesn't make a difference. And I thought it's interesting that, you know, right now you're in the thrust of how do we fund the, you know, all of this money that's going to go into education, which is not different from many countries. But in addition, it's equally as important to decide how we're going to spend it. Because what I see is we keep doing the same things again and again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Tell us what the Erlen syndrome is.
Well, we're looking at something that has a tendency to get undiagnosed, and because for many reasons. One is we look at children who are struggling in school, who may be bright, but still struggling, and we keep thinking that doing it again and again and practicing is going to make a difference, rather than looking for some type of underlying cause. And Erlen is a perceptual processing problem that can hold back reading, attention, can get misdiagnosed a lot of times as dyslexia or even attention deficit disorder, so we see children put on medication unnecessarily. And it would be easy to identify if we could just get the educators educated.
Yeah, quite.
Get, you know?
Yeah, I do know. Oh, don't start me. As you say, all this money being thrown around, most of it borrowed money, but if money was the problem, all these problems would already be solved.
Absolutely.
It's knowing how to spend the money. How do coloured lenses help someone with reading and other difficulties?
Well, 80% of the information we take in is visual, and it's not read by the eye. The eye is the camera that sends the information to the brain. And it's the brain that has to read and process information, whether you're looking at words or numbers or music or even the teacher under fluorescent lighting. You're taking in visual information. And for the population we work with, they have an inherited predisposition. Is that a big term for it?
Yeah.
They kind of inherit the fact that high contrast black print on white paper, fluorescent lighting, doing anything for any length of time makes it difficult for the brain to process the information. And it causes a whole array of difficulties.
So do the colours or the combination of colours vary from person to person depending on the exact nature of their condition?
It depends actually on their brain, because we all have unique brains, and so we have to customize and design and figure out which parts of those spectral bands of light is creating these difficulties and just filter those for each individual. And it's a very precise process, but when you get it right, then the brain can take in the information, the child can read comfortably, not get headaches, tired, fall asleep from reading, words not floating, distorting, moving. And if you have to work to see, you can't comprehend. So let's eliminate those issues so they can comprehend and succeed like anybody else.
Fantastic. Look, I'll tell you what, when you get to Australia, we'll talk again. I'll keep letting people know. Yeah, I'll keep letting people know where you're going to be. We'll get that information to our listeners. But when you get to Australia, we'll talk again, Helen. Very, very important stuff.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you so much. Dr. Helen Irlen on the line from California. Look, that's very, very important stuff. For more information on her Australian trip, visit aaic.org.au. Basically what she's saying is there are children at school there who have problems with reading, with assimilation, with processing information, or they're in discomfort, they have problems with writing issues, and what do? We keep saying we're going to do today what we did yesterday. Well, if you do today what you did yesterday, you get yesterday's result. She says there may be another problem, and it's called the Irlen syndrome, I-R-L-E-N. So that website, check it out, aaic.org.au, aaic.org.au. The US